Welcome to a new planetary and seismic update. We had some strong seismic activity right at the time of critical lunar geometry. That was on July 1st and July 2nd, as discussed in the previous update. Here on the SSGI graph with magnitude 5.6 and larger, we see critical lunar geometry marked by the bold labels, green labels, Earth, Moon, Mars at 90 degrees, followed by Earth, Moon, Saturn at 90 degrees, and then also Earth, Moon, Neptune at 90 degrees. And the time between that critical geometry with Mars, Saturn and Neptune will grow shorter as we go further into July and into August. And I will show you in a minute. But we can see here magnitude 6 South Indian Ocean on July 1st and then 6.9 at Tonga on July 2nd, near the time of that critical lunar geometry. And there was also, of course, Mercury, Sun and Earth in a conjunction. It was the only planetary conjunction that we had in this time frame from June 27th to July 6th. We see some stronger earthquakes. They are pretty much grouped right there from June 30th to July 2nd. And then also some 5.6, 5.8 seismic activity in the high 5 magnitude range, and nothing much more than that. So let's have a look at the planetary and lunar geometry that we're going to have in the next time frame until July 15th. That's pretty much the first half, the second week of July. We see again the bold labels marking the most critical geometry, lunar and planetary geometry, and we see this grouping of critical lunar geometry. Today we have Moon, Earth and Mars in a conjunction. That's not a right angle but a conjunction, and then followed by Earth, Moon, Saturn, and you can see that the time between those two lunar conjunctions is growing shorter, and that will be followed by Earth, Moon and Neptune on July 8 in the afternoon. And the time between these conjunctions, also the right angles, because we see later on from the 13th to the 15th, we see the right angles coming up again, and the time between the conjunctions and right angles will grow shorter, and that will be more critical, because the less time between them, the more critical it is, because that allows for very concentrated electromagnetic energy coming from that geometry. We have a planetary conjunction on the 10th, Mercury, Sun and Saturn, and then also Mercury, Sun, Neptune on the 15th. These are the only two planetary conjunctions, but keep an eye on this lunar geometry, because that will be very critical. Again, we see this here from the 7th to the 8th of July, and then also from the 13th to the 15th. And there is probably going to be increased seismic activity. How large exactly depends on the condition of Earth's crust, but that will happen at the time and just following that critical lunar geometry. Let's have a look at the solar system. Today we see the typical geometry that I've shown in previous updates as well. Earth is close to the Mars-Saturn line, and Venus is there as well, and Earth is moving towards that red line between Mars and Saturn. And as that happens, we see that the critical lunar geometry is becoming more and more critical and allowing for larger seismic activity. And as we go into the second half of July, we see that the Earth, this is July 29th by the way, we see that Earth has passed this red line and will be in a conjunction with Mercury, Venus, and again we see the Moon facing the red line between Mars and Saturn. And there is a grouping of conjunctions and also right angles at that time from approximately July 27th to July 31st, and the lunar geometry from July 27th to the 28th converging right there. It is going to be critical, and I suspect that it will culminate in August, and we're going to have a quick look there as well. Again, very similar geometry. Earth, Venus and Mercury very close to the red line between Mars and Neptune. And that is probably going to be the most critical geometry, more critical than with Mars and Saturn. And because Earth is so close to that red line, and we have Venus and Mercury joining in there as well, we are probably going to have significant seismic activity. There is the potential for mid-8 magnitude in the second half of August. Do not underestimate that geometry. I have shown you examples in the previous update what can happen when Earth is close to, let's say close between Mars and Neptune. Last time that it happened was in 2012, and there was a magnitude 8.6 earthquake off the coast of northern Sumatra. There were actually two magnitude magnitude 8 earthquakes in the same morning, as Earth made, let's say the moon made critical lunar geometry with Mars and Neptune. And that is going to happen again, first with Mars and Saturn in the coming weeks, and then as we go into August also with Mars and Neptune. It is going to be very critical geometry. I will keep showing you in every update the grouping of critical planetary and lunar geometry and the time that there is the likelihood of increased seismic activity. Like we have today with Moon, Earth and Mars in a 90-degree angle. No, sorry, that will be a conjunction, followed by Earth, Moon, Saturn also in a conjunction. And there is probably going to be increased seismic activity following that lunar geometry. Be sure to have an earthquake plan, especially if you are in a critical region where there can be major and even great earthquakes. There are some really critical areas on the planet where great seismic activity has not occurred in a long time. Make sure you have an earthquake plan. The next 2 months, July, August, will be critical. On the website you can also see the atmospheric fluctuations, potential regions where larger seismic activity may occur. That is updated frequently. There is no room to show that here right now. Look at the website because it will be updated almost daily. This is the update for now. Be safe. Until next time.